what is Vincent? High-level overview, it's a non-custodial framework that lets users delegate scope signing authority to Vincent apps. So what does that mean? That means that Vincent leverages these PKPs, and because these PKPs don't have private keys that exist in one spot, this is kind of where you get this non-custodial framework. And so what happens is you have Vincent apps that generate these unique Vincent agent wallets, which are under the hood or PKPs for each one of their users. And so with these agent wallets and with PKPs as a whole, you have what we call authentication methods. And so auth methods are basically just kind of what they sound like. They're ways for you to authenticate with the lit network to prove that you own this PKP or that you have been given signing authority with this PKP. And so these auth methods can be things like any OAuth 2. So like Google OAuth, Discord, X. You can even have like custom OAuth. They are phone numbers that you receive a one-time verification code to. They're emails that receive a verification code to. You can have custom auth methods that leverage lit actions where you combine several of these auth methods to where it's saying like you need to have a valid JWT from Google. You also need to receive this text message on your phone. And then I'm also going to check out my Web2 database to see like what are your current permissions using your authenticated Google identity. These lit actions kind of just let you write whatever authentication methods that you require for your application. And so these PKPs, like traditionally with an EOA on Ethereum, your like permission to sign with that private key, or sorry, with that Ethereum wallet, that Ethereum address, is owning that private key. But that, of course, means that anybody who controls and owns that private key can have access to the Ethereum account. And so this just kind of like loosens that to not make it so drastic if you lose your private key, to basically say, you need to be signed in with this Google account that has, a little bit more robust security than just having, 12 words written down on the notes on your computer or something, for example. And so Vincent apps leverage these PKPs to generate individual wallets per Vincent app for their Vincent users. And so the delegated scope signing part of these Vincent apps is basically you create a Vincent app, and these Vincent apps have Vincent abilities. And each one of these abilities is going to do something specific. So this is like interacting with the Aave protocol, making Uniswap swaps, interacting with Morpho vaults. Like really, these abilities are just lit actions, so they can do basically anything that you can write in JavaScript. And you grant these Vincent apps the ability to execute these Vincent abilities on behalf of your Vincent agent wallet that's generated for you for that specific Vincent app. And so when you approve a Vincent app, when you onboard onto it, you basically get a screen that says it's an overview of what abilities that this Vincent app requires in order to function. And so this would be things like, I want to be able to perform Uniswap swaps. I want to be able to, borrow and lend on the Aave protocol. And so when you give the green light to that Vincent app, the Vincent app is now permitted to make requests to the lit network to sign those specific transactions for those abilities using your Vincent agent wallet. And so the delegation part of this comes from the fact that the Vincent apps don't own your PKPs. They don't own a private key. They're not an auth method on top of your PKP, so they don't have like complete access to your PKP. They can't just sign whatever they want. They specifically have been given access to execute these Vincent abilities, which will execute inside lit actions. They'll create the transactions to interact with the Aave protocol or make a Uniswap swap, and then these lit actions will make a request to the lit network to say, hey, I want to actually sign with this user's PKP now. And then part of the Vincent system will actually check an on-chain contract to see, has this user who owns this PKP that this lit action, this Vincent ability is requesting to sign a transaction for, is this user actually permitted, or have they actually permitted this Vincent app that's making this request? And so the lit network will check the on-chain contract and basically check, like, are they currently delegating to this Vincent app? If so, the signature goes through, and then the Vincent app will get back a signed, Aave protocol transaction or a Uniswap swap transaction that they can then submit to the network on behalf of the users. So just to kind of go over that again a little bit more simply, Vincent apps have Vincent abilities that allow them to do very specific things. These specific things are like interacting with Aave or Uniswap. And then users permit the Vincent ability for the specific Vincent app. And then these Vincent abilities will create transactions to interact with blockchains, and then make a request to sign with the user's Vincent agent wallet, which is a PKP. And then part of these abilities will check on chain on a contract to see whether or not the user has actually given the authority for the Vincent app to execute these abilities on their behalf. And if that is true, then the Vincent ability creates the transaction, signs it with the PKP, returns back the signature, and then the Vincent app is free to publish that signed transaction on chain, interacting with other protocols that need to be interacted with. And so these Vincent abilities allow for things like yield optimization. You can do cross-chain rebalancing, since Lit protocol is natively cross-chain. You can do automated and scheduled transactions, which is a really big one, because right now, if you wanted some sort of dApp service to automate transactions on your behalf, or monitor market conditions and then react accordingly, they would either need to have the private key to your wallet, or they would more than likely generate a wallet that you would send funds to, which they still own the private key for. So they ultimately have like complete control over whatever deposited funds you have. And so with this system, with Vincent, you can do automated and scheduled transactions, which would basically be executing a Vincent ability without that Vincent app actually having control of the underlying private key. They can't just execute, an ETH transfer unless it's been wrapped in an ability that you approved specifically. Instead, they can only execute these Vincent abilities that you've permitted explicitly. And then this also extends to AI and agents interacting with DeFi protocols, where instead of the agent having a wallet that you would deposit into, the agent can just execute these Vincent abilities, which produce transactions using your Vincent agent wallet, your PKP. And so the kind of like big tagline for this is anything that requires a signature can be safely automated, because you're no longer entrusting, the service that's producing the automation with a private key. Instead, you're just saying, I'm giving you access to execute these very specific transactions using my wallet under specific conditions.